Evan Bullock played his last 2 seasons at Louisiana Tech in North Texas. He wanted to join a championship contender for his senior season, so Bologna State felt like home. Last week, the team clobbered number 15 NC State for their home opener, dominating both sides of the ball. The offense and defense looked very different from the past 2 seasons now that the team has some more talent. The win randomly dropped Bologna State to 4th in the Big 12 Conference and gained nothing in the top 25 rankings. The committee seems to be very critical of this team so far this season. But this next test will be their biggest in regular season history, a road game into the swamp against the defending national champion Florida Gators. Does head coach Giovanni Rigatoni and team have the secret sauce to sneak out of Gainesville with a win, or will they be the ones getting overcooked? This is the Rigatoni recipe, a college football dynasty played on Heisman difficulty with the default cupcake roster, all from a former coach's perspective. So smash that like button to go 2-0, hit subscribe if you like learning about football, or leave a comment which meat you prefer in your pasta so YouTube has no idea what this video is actually about. Let's get scouting. So Florida on paper has some really great receiving threats, but the quarterback isn't amazing. We're going to prioritize the passing game in this one with a lot of dime personnel, which is 6 defensive backs. On defense, their edge defenders are very strong, but their interior seems to be weak, and I believe we have a positive matchup against their secondary. So we'll be using a lot of 3 wide receiver sets and running inside where we can likely have more success than trying to attack the edge or running heavier personnel. Defensively, they run a form of a 3-3-5 with some variables, so inside zone is going to be our bread and butter running play for most of the game. We'll run several passing concepts because we think we have an advantage there against their secondary. Also be on the lookout for this wild card. We've seen Matt Maribel getting some reps at quarterback this week on running plays. Rumor has it that Coach Rigatoni is not afraid to play both guys this week where it makes sense at quarterback. On offense, they've got a ton of 11 personnel formations from shotgun and pistol. Generally, the more complex an offense gets with formations, the more simple we'll get because there's just too much to try to remember and account for. So most of what we'll be paying close attention to is trips formations and 2x2 formations, as well as any condensed sets versus wide formations. So here we go. Bologna State has scheduled an SEC opponent every year during the regular season as a non-conference game. It was Auburn in year 1, Ole Miss in year 2. But going into the swamp, facing the defending national champions, this just feels like the pinnacle of what Coach Rigatoni has been trying to build over the past 3 seasons. And this is why he came here. He wanted to build a program that was ready for these kind of moments. So this is going to be a big measuring stick for this team and what they can do this season. Coach Rigatoni's fired up. You got the defending national champions in the house. Keys to the game, executing on 3rd down. Florida not leaving points on the field. Let's get into this. We mentioned wanting to play a lot of 6 DBs today. We're going to start with dollar cover 3, pinching the line so we can get a nose and 2-3 techniques. We want to force any inside running plays to go wide and make sure we have numbers against any RPOs. And then cover 4 palms can be useful against trips formation. So here against a 3x1, that pinch defensive line made it really difficult. We already got a 3rd and 8. We're trying to set up a load front so we can get some pressure against them here. And we go palms against the trips. We should have a good matchup, right?
Lets it fly. Catch inside the 30 and still running. Right down the gut of the field. Touchdown Gator. And once he got away from the knee, they had no shot at catching him.
Nobody said this was going to be easy, right? We go inside zone on 1st and 10, not much there. Matt Maribel sneaking in on 2nd down, getting a little bit of yardage back to get us a 3rd and 2. Hulk formation, Teague, able to get us the 1st down, so the drive stays alive. 1st and 10, you can see the crowd having an impact. We send Davidson in motion, try to hit him into the flat, but they do a good job covering that. 2nd and 10, we go back to the inside zone. It's Bo Jackson, 3-headed monster at running back. 1st and 10, we go with a jet sweep here. They bottle that up pretty well, but we think we can come back to that a little bit later. 2nd and 13, going underneath the Bo Jackson, we're able to get a 1st down. Bullock does a nice job under duress, not being able to see the icons, but still able to make the throw. Another solid game there by Davidson there, and then again, just unable to see exactly where he's going with the ball, but Bullock staying composed under pressure. Then it's back to the inside run here to Davidson. We said we were going to do a heavy dose of inside zone today to get us to 1st and goal. Then we're going back to the jet sweep, which we said we should be able to get the edge on, and it's Desmond James. Tie ball game, 7-7. Florida's next drive out, they go inside zone and they're able to bend it back, so a solid gain there for 10 yards. It's going to happen against a dime every now and then. They go inside zone there and not much running room, and then they go back to it again, and again not much running room. So we force another 3rd and long. We're going to mug all the gaps here to make it confusing for the offensive line, and then we're going to drop out of this. So sometimes we'll bring pressure, sometimes we'll change who's coming, sometimes we'll stunt. You'll see this all the time in the real game in the NFL, and I don't know what the quarterback was thinking here, but Florida is off the field. Our next drive out couldn't get the playoffs, so Coach Rigatoni really upset about this to start with a 1st and 15. Brings in Matt Maribel again, but Florida sniffed it out, so we get a 2nd and 15. Looking again for that underneath throw, and we've got another flag on the field. This time it's a holding call, so we back it up even further to 2nd and 25. And now Evan Bullock is not paying attention to where he needs to throw the ball, so we're all kinds of chaos here. We get to a 3rd and 25. There's no way we're going to make this, right? Well, Bullock is paying attention to his matchups first, and he sees the safety come down. He knows he's got James with speed on the outside, so he lets it rip down the field, and he drops it. Ugh, we're off the field. Florida next drive out, going with the zone read. He breaks a tackle. He's able to get more than 10 for a 1st down. They go back to the inside running game. Not as much luck that time to get him to a 2nd and 8. They run inside again, and we're able to stop him again, so we're forcing another 3rd down. Huge loss, though, with Charlie Collins rolling his ankle. He does not return for this game. 3rd and 5, they go with the zone read. Quarterback had some space, but a heck of a play by our corner to make that stop. And then they go to kick a field goal, and he's able to drill it, so it's 10-7 Florida. Our next drive out, we were committed to staying patient with the inside running game, even though it wasn't having a lot of success early. 2nd and 8, Davidson for a small chunk, and then 3rd and 5, going underneath. CJ Peaks able to get us a 1st down, so that was huge. And then on 1st and 10, the inside zone does break for a decent amount of yardage. 1st and 10, we go with the RPO. Taylor Harris, not a lot there. 2nd and 10, looking for the halfback angle route to Davidson. He gets us down to a 3rd and 1, and then guess who? It's Teague, able to get us a 1st down, powering ahead. And don't look now, it's Matt Maribel in the game, but Florida sniffs it out, so we force a 2nd and 10. We go to this motion series, thinking we've got the crossing route, not there. He goes late down the field to Spivey, and just barely dodges an interception. So it's 3rd and 10 now. Gotta find a play. We think we can get James on a crossing route, especially if it's man coverage. He's gotta make a contested catch in Florida, and he does. Huge play on 3rd and 10. Next play, going underneath to Peaks, and look at the amount of shotgun 11 personnel that Bologna State is using in this game. This would never have happened 2 years ago. Another nice run by Davidson. In the red zone now. Looking possibly at this flat route to Stanzi. Not really there. He goes inside to Spivey. Contested catch specialist, baby. 14-10. Their next drive out on 1st down, we adjust to a buzz match because we want to get that safety down and run support. We felt like this could be better against RPOs as well as the inside running game. 2nd and 8, they try to roll out and make a throw. He's not able to make it, so we force another 3rd and long. We go with a load front and a stunt with cover 3 behind it, and this is why you use formations and stunts instead of necessarily bringing extra guys to create pressure. They run a screen, we're there for it. Our next drive out, we finally do some under center stuff, and not a whole lot there, but Davidson is able to get 3. 2nd and 7, short motion, trying to go underneath, and it's the defensive tackle who nearly got himself a Christmas gift. So a huge play there. 3rd and 7, intentionally going underneath because we knew we would go for it on 4th and 2. We ran this spacing concept a million times in training camp. We felt like we'd be able to hit the play, and Spivey again, contested catch. So 1st and 10, the drive stays alive. We go with the out route to Stanzi. He's able to get another 1st down. 1st and 10, looking underneath, it's Davidson. He's able to get another 1st down. It's just the Bologna State passing game. A timeout from the Gators to try to maintain some clock. We go with an inside zone. Not much there for Bo Jackson. Another timeout from Florida. We go back to this halfback mesh play. Watch this. Florida brings pressure off the right side, which forces Bullock to vacate, but had he stayed in the pocket, square was available right over the middle of the ball. Just shows how pressure can help your pass coverage in certain ways. 3rd and goal. Bullock looking again. He can't find anybody open, so we're forced into a 4th and goal. Kick the field goal. It's 17-10 Bologna State. So Florida's next drive out, 55 seconds, one timeout. They go empty, nothing really there, so they end up getting a sack. It's 2nd and 10 now. Bologna State just going 2-man under, keeping everything in front of him. He tries to throw it down the field. He's not able to make a play there either. And 3rd and goal, they just decide to go with a stretch run and basically just give up and give us to the half, right? Wrong. Bologna State takes a timeout. They remember after scouting this team that the punter on Florida isn't very good. So with them as backed up as they are, we may have an opportunity to get the ball around the 50 with a timeout in our pocket to potentially score again. With the luck of a decent return from Javon Moore, we're actually getting the ball around the 40. Little moments in the game potentially making a big impact. So on 1st and 10, Bologna State goes with a screen pass and it's not there. So on 2nd and 10, we go back with another screen pass, which is there. 4 seconds remain. We take a timeout. We get Estandia back on the field, and he drills it to give us a 2-score lead heading into the half. This is exactly what Alabama did against Bologna State when they played in the bowl game last year. If we can suffocate them on points and get them out of the game, it makes them very one-dimensional, where it allows our defense to play much more confidently in the second half. So first drive of the second half, not a lot there from the under center run. We go 2nd and 14 looking for a screen pass. They're able to corral that quickly, so it's 3rd and 18, and we mentally go back to earlier in the game where we ran this motion across, and we thought we had Spivey down the field, but we saw him really late, so we threw it really late. So we decide on this time what we're going to do instead is swap the receivers, so it's Desmond James who's running that route instead of Spivey because he has more speed. We run this into the boundary, so he goes up the sideline, and the rest is history.
Looking downfield, and he needs a bunch. And he makes the grab and gets the foot down.
A back-breaking completion for Florida, and then if it couldn't get worse, inside zone then hits for another huge chunk to Davidson. And then Bo Jackson hits him for another huge chunk on inside zone. And then we go back to the jet sweep on 1st and goal, and it's another touchdown. A devastating blow for this Gators team. They're down 17 at home. Gotta make a rally here on 1st and 10. Quarterback evades a little bit and throws the crossing route to get a 1st down. Then he's looking underneath again to get a small chunk on 1st down. 2nd and 8, we run a simulated pressure to the field and stunt on the same side. Our defensive end is going to drop in coverage to the boundary because there's less ground to cover. This can be very confusing for a quarterback, especially with a 4-man rush, and we're nearly rewarded with a great call, but it's a drop for a drop earlier with the Florida defensive lineman dropping a pick before. Cover 9 into the bunch on 3rd and 8. It's matched perfectly. Everybody gobbled up down the field. The quarterback runs out of time. Another sack for this Bologna State defense. So 1st and 10, we go from the under center game again, just trying to see if we can get some running going from under center here. Solid chunk on 1st down, not as much on 2nd down. So we run this motion on 3rd and 3. They've seen it twice already. We go inside zone though, and they weren't having it. I actually thought that was a really clever call, but it wasn't meant to be. Their next drive out, going with a double bracket switch into the condensed front, trying to see if we can play some leverage against these guys. They end up going to the guy who is not bracketed, so that's unfortunate. 2-by-2 formation on 2nd and 4, so we go with a nickel trap, see if we can get some pressure and force a bad throw, but they run the ball. That's what the pressure's for, so we're able to force a 3rd and 5. And then on 3rd and 5, they try to run the ball. We're not having any of that, so they're off the field again. 1st and 10, Bologna State. Bo Jackson bouncing around, able to get 7 yards. 2nd and 3, Matt Maribel back in the game. If you lost sleep at the wheel, this happened again and again. 1st and 10, looking for inside zone, nothing really there. 2nd and 11, going to the 3rd monster and the 3-headed monster and Teague. Get us to a 3rd and 10. We're going 4 verticals. Nothing really on the outside, so looking at our underneath matchup, and wide open down the middle of the field is CJ Peaks. They just didn't cover him at all. So 1st and 10, we go inside zone. It's Bo Jackson who's loose. Start of the 4th quarter, though. Seemed to be a theme for whatever reason, starting drives or starting the quarter, we would get a false start penalty. So really undisciplined from the team there. 1st and 15, we go with a short motion. We get Bo Jackson out of the backfield. It's another touchdown for Bologna State. Unbelievable. 34-10 against the defending national champs. Florida with a last-ditch effort. He throws the ball up there, nothing available. 2nd and 10, he's trying to run because there's nobody open. The Bologna State coverage was just so good all day. 3rd and 8, they're looking for somebody. It's another screen pass. Bologna State is just everywhere. They're embarrassing the defending champs in their own house. So on 4th and 7, they decide to go for it. Again, that mug look, we drop out of it, and the corners are sharp. This was the big factor that they needed on this team last year, was the receiving threats, the corners, the secondary play. All of the things that haunted Bologna State last year are no longer haunting them. We get it down to a 3rd and 7. They try an out route on a bench. He's not able to make the catch, so it's Nick Estandia, who's threatening to transfer because Bologna State, according to him, scores no points in the kicking game, is able to make his 3rd field goal of the day. This is getting to the point now where Bologna State is breaking the will of Florida, where they just don't even want to play anymore. They're ready to go hit the bus and go home. Final last-ditch efforts here from Florida. They're trying to get a 1st down. They're trying to run the ball. 2nd and 7, he's scrambling. There's nobody available. 3rd and 7. Trying to find some kind of an opening down the field. He chucks it deep down the field. Not this time. Bologna State is there. The corners are locking it up. Ever since that first mistake of the game, they've been really solid. And then 4th and 7. I don't know how he missed this play, but he throws it over the middle and he's able to get a 1st down to keep the drive alive. 1st and 10, he throws it underneath. They're able to get another 1st down there. Another 1st and 10, looking at the inside running play. And again, this game is just over in their mind. They keep running the ball. There's just nothing here. Chew some clock, get the backups in, and let's go home, fellas. 2nd down, they're only able to get a yard or 2. 3rd and 8, mug pressure, drop out of it, throws it deep. Not this time, although actually this was a great catch. I'm not going to lie, I just didn't bring it down. And then 4th and 8, again, we're going to show pressure. We're going to load. We're going to drop guys. We're going to bring guys. Create the pressure for the quarterback where it forces a throw. Nothing available. Another stop, and we get him off the field again. Bologna State now just wrapping this thing up and putting a bow on it. And it's Bo Jackson getting the feed, not Davidson. We've seen this 3-headed monster, and Coach Rigatoni is not afraid to play players who can make plays. Doesn't matter who you are. He puts Teague back in the game, and Teague, no gain there on 1st down. 2nd and 10. Teague able to make a juke. He's loose. He's gone. Cameron Teague, you can't stop this man. His 3rd rushing touchdown of the day. 44-10, Bologna State. Florida with just a minute left trying to run the ball so they can go home. 1st and 10, looking down the field and just not throwing the ball in the dirt. He's got absolutely nothing. This guy's ready to hit the bus. Look at these throws. They're not even close. 3rd and 10, trying to throw it down the seam. This one's a drop ball. Actually, a great throw. It wasn't there. So Bologna State takes a knee, and that's a wrap, folks. Florida in disbelief at home. The first drive of the game, they scored a huge touchdown, and they did nothing after that. And Evan Bullock completes 75% of his passes in Florida with 4 touchdowns with a great day. Although, scary scene here, Gideon Davidson hitting Bullock on the top of the head as if he's still wearing a helmet. I'm not sure what he was thinking here, but concussion protocol for Bullock next week. Kind of a scary scene, but what a huge win for Bologna State and Coach Rigatoni in the regular season here to go into Florida, the defending national champions, and not just win, but absolutely dominate this team, especially when the 3rd play of the game on the first drive was a touchdown for Florida. So that is 2 ranked wins in 2 weeks for this Bologna State squad, and you can just tell the vibe on the campus, the vibe on the practice field is different this year. They have receiving threats. They have a passing game. They have a secondary that allows them to play different coverages. Unfortunately, Charlie Collins did roll his ankle pretty severely in this game, and he will be out for a couple of weeks. And if that wasn't enough drama, after the bye week next week, Bologna State has their toughest test of any season, week 3, or week 3, as the fans now are going to call it, the Marinara Massacre against Bologna Tech. And this time we are going into Oscar Mayer Field to play them on the Basil Patch. Thank you for watching. Appreciate your support. Cannot wait to see you next Tuesday for the Marinara Massacre. Please consider liking, commenting, subscribing if you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time. Take care.